Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. Let's take a quick look at Trac. And just before we do, quick heads up, Bitcoin is right around 62,000, just kind of trending in that area. Bounced off support at 60,000, held around 61 for a long time, but I think we're about out of the woods and we should see the price start to continue to increase towards a resistance of about 65, 66,000. Now, if you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, just so you know, I've been trading for a very long time and my goal is to help you become a better trader. And the reason why is just simply put, I love teaching and I more importantly love teaching people how to trade more, I guess you could say, not conservative, but just more profitable, if that makes sense, right? So that being said, check out my trading community. I have a link in the description below for that. There's only a few slots left available for the month. Definitely check that out. And obviously, lock in your rate next month. Price is going up. So just check that out in your own time. Now, looking at Trac here, first of all, really straightforward. I've got all the Fibonacci lines drawn up here from the previous time that I reviewed this. And I'm excited to kind of see where it comes into play here, right? Like where exactly are we going to line up? So we'll kind of get to see that here in a moment. One thing I want to look at first, though, is just some pretty obvious normal indications, because any good trader should look at the one-day chart and work their way down. Every time frame has their own benefit. So look at the one-day chart, not much to note here, just based on the sheer fact the price increased so dramatically. We've also got this RSI bouncing off of a 70 effectively. So in most cases, when RSI is above 70, it has a tendency of bouncing. So the common rule of thumb is to not try to sell your position until the price either comes down below the RSI or effectively just bounces off first, right? I've got an RSI video to describe that. Check that out in your own time. But simply put, we're in good shape with the RSI as well, all things considered. And it's actually doing very well based on the simple fact that it ramped up so quickly and retraced, but it's recovered fast. So that's a good sign. Basically, it just means that it's here to play and we might see the price continue to progress upwards. RSI is under 70, but above 50. That's a great sign as well. Because again, when you look at the RSI on the one-day chart, it can be a bit more exaggerated, so to speak, at least over the time. And if you look at the 4-hour and the time frames, between 50 and 70, that's perfect. So on the 4-hour chart, I'd recommend between 70 and 50. When it comes up over 70, then it can be a bit on the overextended side. It's not a problem when the one-day chart has that, but the 4-hour has it. You might see a retracement coming quicker that way. Again, it's a shorter time frame, so that's the reason. We've also got a MACD convergence yesterday at 9 a.m. So we're just going to mark that guy here, go right down the middle. And the main reason why is because I like to look at the Ichimoku cloud and kind of see the correlation between the two. They communicate oftentimes, which basically just means they communicate buy signals, for lack of better terms. So oftentimes I just set an alert for a MACD convergence when the 12 intersects with a 26 in an upward fashion, or I go over to the Ichimoku cloud and kind of just check that out and see if we're above the cloud. And we'll look at that here actually right now. So let's take a look at the cloud. And you can see that right there at the MACD convergence, it didn't effectively coincide directly with it. In other words, in that 4-hour time frame, the price was still within the cloud. So in turn, that's typically not considered a buy signal, right? But technically speaking, we got a buy signal, not 6 hours later, maybe 7 hours after the MACD convergence had occurred. So they're again speaking similar. They're speaking the same language, right? Just a little bit of a delay. Some come before or after, but if you get them both together, then that's definitely a buy signal. So just so you looked at this right then at about, what that would be 8 o'clock last night, you'd look at it and you'd be like, oh, okay, cool. We're right above the cloud. The MACD just converged. I'm going to take a position. That's usually what I like to look for my swing signals that I send to my community members. So those are very good indications that you can kind of look for. Now, granted, it's not the end all be all, right? But it's a great starting point for a swing trade position, something you're going to hold on to for a little while, not just a quick scalping, sub 24-hour period. Regardless, it's definitely doing well. Came up here, almost bounced off of $3.13, almost got to that resistance level. Came down, it looks like it may actually consolidate right around 259, 260 range. So we'll see kind of on a different time frame what that looks like. But for lack of better terms, Trac's definitely back on track. No pun intended there. Or maybe I did, I don't know. It just kind of happens naturally sometimes. So let's look at TD sequential. We're at a 9 here. For lack of better terms, in this case here, we're basically at the end of this bullish trend, right? So what we should expect is for the price to either consolidate here. Sorry, that's the wrong guy. Here, or it might leg down and consolidate here. I think the likelihood of it coming down here is pretty low, so I don't think that's probable. But what we do need to expect is some consolidation sideways for a little bit of time. Right now, what's cool about this, and you can kind of see this trend that occurred from before. You see this breakout to the upside here, where the price considered breaking out, and then it eventually did. That's an ascending wedge pattern, right? We like to see that. And how they usually start is by bouncing in between these Fibonacci retracement lines. So you can kind of see the support and resistance channel here. If we can get this to consider doing this as well, we might see a break to the upside as well, just based on the simple fact that we might be creating a ascending wedge pattern again. All right. Again, a little too early to tell, but if we can get this to consolidate sideways for a couple more hours, or well, probably more so, like I would say 8 to 12 hours would be nice, then we can kind of see where the price is hanging out. And if we lose a support channel here of just say 260 to 280, then it'll drop down below to 236 to 260. I don't think it's going to come down much further just based on its momentum here. It has a lot of bullish indications that we're looking pretty good here. So let's just go ahead and summarize with a potential prediction here, kind of see what options this might have if it were to continue to increase, right? So take a look at the big picture here. Again, this is absolute best case scenario. We're looking at about 589. And what that could do, that could actually happen within the next week of trading. Because keep this in mind, this time frame here was roughly 5 days, okay? So if we kind of copy that and we see that happen, just say in the next week, there's a likelihood of it coming up to about 589 or 590 as a best case. I say best case just because of the fact that it does still have a resistance level to break through. And once it breaks through that, then it could be open season essentially, because that's considered new all-time high territory, and then we start seeing some crazy stuff. But also bear this in mind, most cryptocurrencies have a tendency of repeating their behavior. This one has a new behavior because of the fact that I think there was a specific event that occurred to cause this. I feel like it was offered to a new exchange, if I'm not mistaken. But when that happens and the price jumps up like that, then you can expect it to kind of probably do something similar in the future, right? So if we were to just say come up here and eventually break this resistance, it might spike up to this, right? But then it'll come down and kind of consolidate into one of the next major channels, right? So just get ready for that. I mean, most coins perform very similarly. The only one that I've seen that has kind of outperformed most Fibonacci retracement lines is Cadena. So that's a good one to keep an eye on, by the way, if you haven't already, because that's a pretty amazing coin. I think it's going to do some great things here. But at this point in time, what we're looking at is, I would say Trac is very much on track to do some good things. So again, best case scenario, 590 by month end, I think would be probably more likely as a safe estimate. And then of course, next year, going into next year, we could see somewhere in a range of $6 to $10, of course. But we have to look at the new lines and the new retracement potential once we get there, right? It's still a little premature at this point because it'll be overextended if it gets up to $6 in just say the next 24, 48 hours, right? We don't want that. We want healthy consolidation before it increases and legs up again. So if you found benefit here today, please like and subscribe, of course. Join my Patreon community. I love trading and I love teaching people how to trade. And that's a great opportunity for us all to kind of get to, become better, more effective traders, right? Furthermore, of course, I send out signals, kind of an added bonus for every single trade that I take. And you can one-click follow those through the Coinstats trading bot if you'd like. Thanks again for joining me here. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. You take care now. Have a good one.